Welcome to the Offspace podcast. It's your host with the motherfucking most, Shoe Offer.
And it's your favorite co-host, Isaiah Rashad, back at it again with another episode of the podcast.
Episode of the what, nigga?
The podcast.
Yes, sir. You know what day it is. It's time for us to get it. Anyways, how's your week been, my boy?
My week. You know, finished up the semester. I didn't get the grades I wanted to a little bit, partly because I forgot a peer review. It is what it is, you know, but I locked down A's mostly, doing my thing. I'm kind of happy to be on the path and the trajectory to go ahead and just wrap this shit up in December, because if y'all have known and if you've been listening to the podcast,
that nigga studious and single.
Huh?
That nigga studious and single.
You know, go ahead and peep your boy.
Good grades. Good GPA, you heard?
Anybody who's trying to, you know, feel
high level man, you heard?
Talk on me, brother. I appreciate it.
For sure, G.
But truly, if anyone was really here from the start, you know, this all started over on Baker Lane during my second year, but really third year, supposed to be in college.
Long ass hair, both of us.
Long ass hair.
we might throw those videos on one day.
And so I said it's supposed to be my third year, and this is our third year of the podcast. I've been in college for a minute, you know. I've been fighting for my fucking life, for my freaking life.
Talk to him.
And I'm just happy to really...
It ain't no little goal, by the way. Talk to him.
Levels to this.
All the way up.
Levels to this. I'm happy to be like, you know, kind of wrapping it up and truly just trying to stay focused, trying to stay on the path of moving forward, and trying to just keep shooting for excellence, as Braun would say, you know, strive for excellence, strive for greatness, really.
Year 27.
Year 24. So that's pretty much how my week's been. Besides that, I did take an impromptu vacation with my mom and sister. Shouts out to them, because I was able to just, you know, relax, wind down. And if y'all are on IG, you might see some pics of me in a vineyard with some wine, because, you know.
Some light.
What do they say, like future sommelier in training?
I mean, you know what I'm saying. I know my boy, he's trying to be a wine expert. You know what I'm saying. I know some of y'all have never even heard the word sommelier before. I say that like it's not relatively common now. But
we're just saying everything's different. For the sake of things, everything's different. We're all on a different trajectory. Fuck it. They've never done it like this. To a whole nother level. But that's been my week. Let's go ahead and get into how yours has been, because I know we probably do have a little bit more that we want to get past that, but it is important to check in, man. So how are you doing?
Yes, sirski. Damn. I feel like when you do the solemn damn, like
it's like, well, damn.
Because last week I feel like I came in instantly like, you know what, I've had pretty fucking great last week. And I'm sitting here like, but
it's like that meme. It's like life's been you know, it's like fighting your demons, but it's like, damn, my demons got hands. But I don't know, man. Like, has it been good? Has it been bad?
It's been. You know what? I'm going to repurpose everything negative that may have gone through my head just from some of the situations I may have dealt with, you know, with stresses in my own life, of course. Mm-hmm. Realizing everybody in this world deals with stress. And it's not it's not to minimize my own in the slightest bit, because I don't think anybody should ever minimize their struggle or what they're going through. But I think sometimes, having that sense of community and realizing that people that want to be like you in terms of just like your dreams, your goals, and your aspirations have been at a similar point as you've been, right? That stuff makes you feel better, because it makes you feel like there's hope, keep pushing and all that. But I will say I had a pretty good week. I did a few things that I thought I would never do in my life. I wrote probably the most, like, once again, I'm not going to dive into extraordinary detail with it, but I probably wrote the most personal thing I've ever written that wasn't a, like, poem or song. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never been, like, a story writer or anything like that. So that felt excellent. I'm not going to lie. Like, the second I feel like the second I finished, you know, like, the part I was supposed to write, I kind of, like, got out of like blacking out, like almost like wake up, and then I feel like I felt on top of the world, you know, and it's inspired a lot of future ideas that I now have in the back of my head for sure. But beyond that, I have to say an apology to the man. I have to say an apology to the man sitting next to me.
That's fucking right. That's freaking. Oh my god.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry, y'all.
I promise CBS you can call us one day. Like NBC, like we'll be good. By that point, we
this
won't
is a family-friendly podcast.
It's a family-friendly podcast. But I want to, there's a few people I want to apologize to by name, and then the rest of the people, y'all can kind of assume who you are. But I want to start at the top of this list with Esgo Offer.
Appreciate that.
I want to apologize to DJ Heilig. I want to apologize to Bree. I want to apologize to Lauren. I want to apologize to Alex. I want to apologize to my little sister Uzama. I want to apologize to my other little sister Chi. And that's the end of that list. The rest of y'all can suck my dick. But it's
So when he said that the rest of y'all can assume who you are and fill in that gap, he didn't mean it. For shit show, he didn't mean it. I mean, I'm gonna stop, but you know.
And basically the apology is I'm on the talk. I'm on the talk. I made fun of TikTok all of 2020. Now looking back on it in retrospect, really for most of 2021, since we're now in the latter part of the year, to be honest, and looking back on it in retrospect, it's just kind of like, I want everybody in the world to recognize my face. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want everybody in the world to connect with me in some way that I can find a way to connect with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, not inorganically, but organically, right? Mm-hmm. And the biggest platforms that I've looked to try to do those things are like a YouTube or like, you know, all of the DSPs when it comes to podcasting, right? Or just even my social media. But under the guise of like little kids doing dances and blah, 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 that I was trying to be an old man and lame and all this about, like, I definitely missed an opportunity to take advantage of quite literally the biggest platform to connect with people right now. And so I've just been trying my best to like get acclimated. I've been studying it on the dumb low for the last month just so I can kind of get familiar. We've been posting on the Offspace one, of course. But
Go ahead and check that out, the Offspace.
The Offspace TikTok, yes, sir. Where you can find way more clips than you can find anywhere else. Plus, on top of that, we're going to be doing some, you know, little side content there that will only be TikTok exclusive, but we'll get into that when we get into that. But on a personal tip, I'm definitely going to try to personalize it, because something I think a lot of us forget when it comes to stuff that may be quote unquote lame to certain people, or maybe this or maybe that, is A, if there's a use in something, it's never lame. B, if you feel good about something, it's never lame. But C, on top of all of that, if you're a creative, you're somebody that believes can shift a culture, can shift an environment, can shift this, can shift that, you can mold anything in the world to suit you. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no way, like, no one that was suggesting TikTok to me for this last year and a half was assuming that Chuka was about to go on there and do the renegade. You know what I'm saying?
But
that's what I was seeing in my head when people were telling me to go get a TikTok and do that shit.
I feel like
I apologize.
When you're being, like you said, when you're being a creative and you're just creating content on any platform, look, like, yeah, you could think certain things are corny, and even that's a story for another day, when really you're just projecting that you're out of touch with what's quote unquote cool with very young kids. And like, again, you don't have to really be on those things. Like, again, no one expected you to be doing the renegade, you know, or really be doing all these dances, because the people I see doing a lot of those are really young too. But if you like that kind of thing, go for it, you know, because again, you can't tell somebody their interests are lame to them.
100%.
But at the same tip, if you get on one of these platforms and you're making content in a way that
you're
is
just blocking blessings doing that
organic
shit
and authentic to yourself, then there's no way that can end up lame unless you yourself are like kind of asserting the belief that you're lame, you know, like you're going to be the one that comes on here and your content's just going to be shit, because if you're being authentic to you, then your authenticity is lame, and that's just impossible. So it doesn't matter, man. Like, go ahead and do the things you want to. And I think that's important, even past the realm of TikTok, past the realm of like whatever platform or whatever it might be. I know at a time superheroes were quote unquote lame. Now you can't make an action movie without someone suggesting a nigga in a cape. And it's like some of these concepts and things I'm saying do come off to me a little bit like, okay, but I'm just happy because you're able to bridge the gap, I think, between generations and between groups of people when we drop this stigma or this attitude of cool, because it's not cool. It's just connection. It's just human understanding. It's just like understanding the realm of what
it's a feeling, man.
Exactly. Like,
and you know what's funny about all of that? It's like looking back at it and kind of just being ashamed with myself and a little upset, of course, how I handled it beforehand. It's like I was becoming the person I hated, because I definitely hate the old judgy person, but the old judgy person starts off judging little stuff that another generation is doing and becomes the old judgy person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But on top of that, it's like I was also going directly against one of my life mission statements, which is like making a world where everybody's comfortable to do what they want to do. And it's like any one of those platforms that you're allowed to express yourself is directly or indirectly doing that for a whole generation. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like we came in like 2006, 2007, and we learned different forms of expression while people thought it was lame on YouTube. You know what I'm saying? Like watching the Smoshes, watching later on the Ray William Johnsons, watching the like at a time the Shade Tards,
the
like
most
all those
random
ass
kind of
fucking
humor things that you would find in like they were transferable from, I would say, like a Drake and Josh and iCarly and things like that. But you saw them through the Smoshes. But even past that, you see people making, like, at that time it was a little bit different because they were
Mystery Guitar Man. Remember that nigga?
Oh my goodness, yeah. That's actually, I'm gonna go back and check that out because shout out to music lovers, you would appreciate that.
He was so cool to me.
But you genuinely saw people sitting in front of a camera just talking about shit. And, you know, at the time, that's what vlogging was, right? And everyone thought it was the lame. I swear to God, the people who didn't like it thought it was the lamest shit ever, right? Ever. But now, a lot of people will make, regardless of the content that they make on these platforms, will make vlogging content. And it'll be a little bit more expansive than just them sitting in front of
Instagram content. Stories.
But if we really think about it,
Snapchat stories. Like, there's a lot of things that have derived off of what vlogging was.
But if we really even think about it past the realm of like what a traditional podcast was on just the audio platform, what is a podcast where you're sitting in front of people on YouTube? You're vlogging. Like your old time vlogging, essentially. You
know what's hilarious? Just speaking about some of these old names. Like, I remember seeing, he was a young, skinny black male, a gay black male. I have to, of course, identify. Yeah. Kingsley, thank you. And I remember his pop on YouTube when he'd like freak out or do his little reactions. And he was kind of revolutionary in that space because I think he was one of the first people on YouTube that blew up looking just at a camera, but it wasn't necessarily like him just speaking about like what he's doing, boom, boom, boom. It was, I think he blew up in the opinion space almost first on YouTube, right?
No, everyone.
And so like that is hilarious because that is the evolution of what becomes like some of the most popular podcasts if they're not like educational or doing this or doing that, because there's niches for everything, just like there was niches on YouTube. So you really just watch evolution, and it's funny because now we get to see the men don't go to therapy, they just start a podcast. Like we get to see all the jokes about podcasts and things like that now, when in like a few years we get to see the revolution that's become podcasting. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like everything is cyclical and you watch everything change people's lives. I made fun of Vine. I probably stopped Ezgo from being famous on Vine because he was a lot younger.
I wouldn't say it was so much you or anything.
I don't want to take full responsibility.
Because it wasn't even you, to be honest. It was a lot more of my peers. Because I mean, like, my brother thinks everything I do is lame. Like, when I'm that age, to be fair, like, it's always, damn, this nigga. And I'm like, bro, shut the fuck up. You're doing the same stuff. So I didn't really take too much from Chuka on that. I'm like, okay. This nigga had the YouTube. Oh my God.
I had a
Looking
YouTube.
at him and his YouTube channel back in the day.
What?
I'm like, bro, you're on the same shit.
That's why I wanted to even get into the Kingsley shit, because like I literally did that on YouTube and I found success doing that. And then I found myself feeling lame because I could just like feel like what my peers would say or just like those kind of things. And then I just quit. This was 10 years ago. Yeah. And now it's funny finding yourself almost cyclically come back to like what you loved. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Exactly. And you know what's funny though? You and that YouTube channel, in some space, obviously there's bigger creators that like were inspirations for me at the time. But I was like, at the end of the day, I saw my brother make a fucking YouTube channel that was doing relatively well. Like, okay, I could do this Vine shit. Then all of a sudden I'm making Vines and people that I know are finding them hilarious. And then I knew a bunch of other people that I knew. So it's like, there was two ends to it, right? I'm not saying one was bigger than the other, but you hear one way louder. You hear the negativity way louder than you hear the praise.
Of course.
So like when I post something and then people would go out of their way to like mention me on social media and be like, damn, Law, you're not funny for shit. Like, you thought this was going to be funny. Like, who are you playing? I'm like, bro, first off, how's your day going? Like, are you okay? You're coming at me like this right now. It's 2 p.m. Like, you should be at work right now or something like off. Like, what's going on? And so I really did internalize that and let it get to me back in the day. I'm just happy now that, especially being so far removed, because I think that was a lot of high school mentality too.
For
being
sure.
So far
on
removed,
both ends.
Yeah. From being so far removed from that space, I'm finally at a point where, and we're still working on it every year. I feel like I truly will get to a point where I don't really care at all. Even if it's like 1% now, I still know there's work to be done. But I'm at the space where I can truly pop on to anything that I want to do and just feel so good doing it and posting content. Like, I had a Twitch where at a time, like, obviously there was moments where, you know what I'm saying, my string was jumping a little bit in terms of what I, relatively speaking. But there was times where it was really just one person. Like, it was my brother. I'm posting onto my social media. It's just like me playing video games in my room, looking lame as shit. But I'm like, you know what? I want to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to have fun. So it's just doing what you want to do.
No, 100% dog. And to be fair, it's like, I agree with you. It's just like, it takes a while to get back to what you love. It takes a while to accept what you love when it's a little bit different from like what the norm might be, right? And so doing these things, we're presenting a piece of ourselves at the end of the day. So it makes it even more vulnerable in the sense of, I mean, not almost, like in the sense directly of like an artist, you know, like somebody writing a song or somebody putting out a poem or somebody putting out even some comedy. It's just like, or video or script, etc. Like all versions of creativity, you're giving a piece of yourself in your art, right? And so like when we're in these young impressionable ages, sometimes that stunts people for the rest of their lives, because you notice like that hate is so loud when you're young, like so fucking loud when you're young. It's crazy because I got into a rut myself, and now I feel genuinely so comfortable expressing myself and showing myself. I need to become a little bit better on my main pages and things of that nature, just because it is my art and it is like my platform. But it's like, it's so nuts to me. It's so nuts to think about the fact that everything in life, dog, like that's the older we get. I feel like this is a theme that we like come back to on the podcast a lot, but it's just, shows true. It's like, we knew all of this before. But you get to a point in impressionable or in just being young and naive and etc.
You abandon it.
You let the world tell you nah, and then you have to fight back knowing what you already knew. And it's crazy. It's crazy.
That was so beautifully said, because I feel like that's genuinely the journey. It's like coming back to who you are.
It's craziness, bro. We all are literally, I think the journey for true happiness in this world is really finding your way back to being a child.
And letting that create the opportunity for the ways to kind of like navigate and survive the world.
Because the ways kids speak, right? Kids speak, and I know not everyone believes in like spelling, like your words having power and like all of that, and that's fine. But it's like kids speak with full intention, right? It's that kid, while he's talking, he really believes that he could fly, or he could be a firefighter, or he could be a movie star, or he could be a gymnast, or he could dunk on LeBron one day, or all of these crazy things, right? Kids believe that 100%. They speak it into the universe, and they are willing to go figure out how to do that until every day the world tells them, nah, you can't, nah, you can't, nah, you can't, until they believe that, nah, you can't. But being able to get back onto a frequency or get back onto a headspace, we'll say, to where you actually believe the things you say about yourself is the journey.
And I think there's one more important thing to note here. Especially, again, I say a lot of things that I'll immediately dedicate what I'm about to say to the kids. Because if you're older, I hope you're already come to this realization. If you didn't, then I hope this can affect you there. But most importantly, for anybody who's like a young person, a teenager, maybe even kid, like listening to this, genuinely, when you're young, you hold all your peers, even if you don't think you do, even the people that you know are fucking up, you hold everybody to such a high like regard.
For sure.
And so when one of your peers bashes something that you do, and you hold them to such this on this pedestal to such a high level, it immediately shatters your world, because it's like, that's like, I'm not saying like they're like a mini god, but in some capacity you're giving them a lot more power at that time, right? And I think the thing about getting old, where you kind of release giving a shit about what a lot of like people think about you, and a lot of that removal from like the high school mentality and things like that, is essentially you realizing that these people aren't on that pedestal anymore, not only because they aren't actively in your life and you realize they don't have that much control over your life, but at the same time, just being on social media. And I know people try and make everything seem sweet on social media, but you hear the real when you talk to people, catch up with people, and they tell you how other people are doing. You start to realize these people weren't those people that you had in your head, right? So the opinions of others start to mean less, because you start to realize that everybody's shit stinks, for lack of better words. Everybody's shit stinks.
And that's an important thing you brought up too. And then I'll take this and I'll transition us straight into like heat checks and like just some of the typical, but it's like, that's one of the most interesting things too, because the more I speak to people I look up to, or the more I get to observe people I've looked up to, or people that I consider mentors, or etc., when those people be real with you, you know what I'm saying? Or like when you really get to look at certain people's lives, you realize like Diddy is me. You know what I'm saying? Like Hove is me. You know what I'm saying? Like these are black men in America. You know what I'm saying? Like that had a vision one day that they would do something and suffered and failed and got divorces and broke up in relationships and lost a lot of money and this and that and that. But they just kept trying to get to their goals and it eventually succeeded for them. Everybody has different levels and different things that they're looking towards, but you just have to realize nobody on this planet is a god. You know, like nobody on this planet means more than you. Nobody on this planet means less than you. And it's just realizing that we're all just here trying to make it to the next day, to the next one, so that we can do what we want to do again. And that's it. And so moving right along to something that is awesome and a little bit of a preface, but it's not really necessarily needed. If you've heard us speak about Isaiah Rashad, if you've heard us speak about The House is Burning, the album is out now. And this will be like a mini review section, but it even starts before the heat checks because of the fact that this is going to be the first time in Offspace history that both heat checks come from the same album. Because it was like heat check is going to be...
This has been a long time fucking coming, man. Right. Like there's a reason that it's going to be the first time that both heat checks are coming from the same album. Bro. Y'all have heard us talking about this since the podcast started.
Since day one of this shit.
You know, for the sake of the pod, like I feel like it's just worth it to honestly really dedicate what we need to get talking about this project and showing the correct amount of appreciation, because after all these years, I can truly say in my heart of hearts, he didn't let us down.
He didn't let us down.
He didn't let us down.
For me, I know a lot of people have their own opinions. For me, he went 16 for 16, but...
Calling him Michael?
I'm calling this man MJ. You know what I'm saying? He's going on a legendary run right now. This man killing. But for...
Do you want to go first or me?
I already have yours queued
Okay,
up.
so my heat check for this week is Chad featuring YGTUT. I hope I said that right. On God, YGTUT, I apologize if I didn't. You know, I like to give these artists the correct amount of praise that they need. So go ahead and figure out his name for real, y'all. But listen to this song because it's fire. I'm not going to say a word during it because there's things I need y'all to really listen in on this song, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit after.
And I'm playing that full minute for each one too. I promise you. I promise you I'm playing. All right.
We're riding out like it's a radio station, baby. Let's go.
Yes, sir.
Bro, I'm so proud of this nigga. I'm sorry, bro.
Hey, dirty nigga got soul like enzyme. Stuck 2 pounds on the inside. Hey, trapping out the map code. Hey, serving at the Chevron. Little nigga got caught with the hair rhyme. Dog food and the word to my canine. Heard the nigga got popped with the A-rhyme. Hey, running to the state lines. I just put blaze in the bulletproof range. Like a couple of gangers. Yeah, that drink ain't feeling my face. Ain't feeling no pain.
I can't take off this dumbass smile from my face.
Bro, because we've been waiting, nigga.
The song makes me so fucking happy. Okay, look, like, I'm an easy nigga to please. There's 3 things you can do in songs to instantly get me, and he did one of them. The subtle guitar nods on the background with that, like, slow writing beat.
Stop it,
or just
bro.
somebody just talking cold. It's like, you can't. How can you lose? You can't. You can't. And they did that. And it's not just did that, they did it so well. Like, I was getting so many feels. There, in a moment there, I thought I was in Guitar Hero 2 or whatever it was, Guitar Hero 3 back on the PlayStation. I thought I was just in a moment for a second there.
Bro, it's just like one of the things I love the most about this project is the fact that it feels like we're getting classic Zay, right? On a few of these tracks and a few of these songs, but it also feels like in the songs that feel like something you'd expect from Isaiah Rashad, it feels like you can hear the progression and you can hear the level up in his just ability as an artist and as a rapper. But my favorite thing is the fact that there are songs that he sounds a little bit different than he would normally sound, right?
But
But
still
it still
like
sounds like him, and it still sounds outstanding. You know what I'm saying?
What
Like,
song are you doing? Because, bro, I'm not gonna lie. You said something that instantly makes me need to mention a song here.
are you talking about Lay With Ya?
It's the one with Doechii and I'm messing it. I Am Doechii and Cal Banks. What you said? It's like that song kind of sounds like I don't know where the sound comes from, but you know, like that Baby Keem-esque sound.
It's a little hard, so I'll let niggas get a little bit. It's
Let
the
them get a
Isaiah
little
Rashad
taste.
album, bro. Y'all are getting a few of these hoes. I'm sorry. We're going to put 2 into the bio, but...
In the sweat, it's a shoot, not a rain. And I had a nightmare last night that I wasn't counting up. We had too many hoes in this bitch, I had to run them up.
What?
I had too many hoes in my face, I had to cut them up. I been focused on my
I see what you mean, though, with that bop,
But
though.
at the same time, it's him. And like, if you let it ride more, you'll see that come out even more. But it's just like, I know what also he's listening to.
Oh, yeah.
Hearing
yeah.
his album, I know what kind of music he listens to.
Bro, it's funny because as soon as I heard the single "Lay With Ya" featuring Duke Deuce, I could kind of tell what type of time that Zay was on. I was like, oh, this nigga definitely listening to. He's not listening to this old people music no more. By the way, he's definitely listening.
He's over it.
He's definitely
over it.
listening to some of the newer generation of music, and he's fucking with it because it sounds like he integrated himself like perfectly. You know, like I fuck with it. And then
It's been so long, you truly didn't know what you were gonna get. But you got so many different feels on it.
the song that I'm gonna play for my heat check is called "R.I.P. Young," and this is the next one, by the way, Zay. If you see this, like this is the next one. We need a video, by the way, Zay. I'm telling you, I might need 16 of those hoes, by the way.
We need the whole.
I might need an album video, by the way.
Can't believe what I was about to say.
We work to work, you late to work, I holla and they send it. You know my pride was colder than Chicago in December. My bitch came up in Echo with her mama was her daddy. And when I'm in the Midwest, she say holla at
Oh, what'd he say?
My dog paid me that cup. Taste like candy. My dog out laying them low, ain't bringing no laws out, serving all the rock. Beats outside, still fucking in the car, still flipping in the car, still shooting at the car. Little hot box, smoking out jar.
Bro, I wish I could just go in and just ad-lib this.
Sitting on a cool cat, fuck that. 7 bitches, I'm a top dog. Get shot, rolling with them, let the pro pay. Outside, but you niggas doing donuts. Yeah, got the money in a headlock.
Yeah, bro, come on, stop playing with this, man.
That makes me want like a classic
We
muscle
here,
car
nigga.
that's literally just bouncing. I want that shit to be. I want to show up like Devin Booker for the playoffs. I want my car to just be fucking clean.
Bro, I haven't stopped cheesing since we started talking about this album, man, bro. We've been waiting so fucking long for this album.
So
and it's
damn long.
This is something else that I want to say once again. It's just like, the wait's worth it. The wait is always worth it if we get quality. I promise you. And the one thing about Isaiah Rashad, the one thing that I want to give credit to the whole TDE camp and everybody applicable is they don't disappoint. And so it makes sense sometimes their decisions, of course, when it comes to holding stuff. Because if you had to hold it for it to sound like this, nigga, hold it longer. You know what I'm saying? Like, hold it as long as you need.
Yeah.
Hold it as long as you need.
I can't say longer. I can't say longer because selfishly I wanted the music for show. But take your time. Take your time for sure.
That's
You can't encourage these people to pull a Rihanna on us.
No,
'Cause at the end of the day, I really do respect the artist and take as long as you need. All jokes aside, but
No, they gonna give Zay like a video game deal or something like that. He's gonna be out like Rihanna with the makeup. He's gonna say, "Oh, word, out of here,"
and he's just done with it.
But no, definitely, I want to shout out the fact that The Rock is on there, J Rock, and on the song "True Story," J Rock and Jay Worthy. J Rock went crazy.
That's like a top 5 song on that album.
J Rock might have.
I firmly believe.
J Rock might have my favorite verse on this album, like feature verse on this album.
Okay, I was about to say like favorite verse in general because like
Feature
that's
verse.
kind of tough when they got a lot of shot verses.
A lot of
in there.
killers on this. I love him having Duke Deuce on there a lot. A lot. I mean, we already heard that in the single. Like Amindi, Smino. Like, come on now, we don't even have to talk about
That Smino song
Brian.
went crazy.
You've heard us speak about Smino probably just as much on this podcast.
Something else that was just a standout besides HB2U. There was this song in like the
I was
female-
mad because I thought that normally I would press. Hold on. Yeah, I thought normally I would press play on HBTU and just assuming like HBTU, the first thing that come to my head, happy birthday, yaha, we get it. And like there was themes in there. Cool. I was like, bro, I know I'm not going to like this one. It's at least going to be one song I don't fuck with. I loved it. I tried to be a hater. I waited so long. I tried to be a hater once, and it couldn't happen.
I couldn't be a hater at all. Certain things at the second playthrough, I liked a lot better than I did the first time. Like From the Garden, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really like the first time through, but then when I listened to it again, I was like, I get it. Okay, like I see. But I think it was All Herb featuring Mindy was the one where probably like the subtle like woman vocals that were like kind of that stupid.
Dummy!
That was one of them too.
Heater alert. So big shout out to Isaiah Rashad. This is going to be our official The House is Burning review, but nothing but positive things to say about him, nothing but positive things to say about the camp, nothing but positive things to say about all the producers, the team, everybody that worked on this. We're happy we got to get blessed with this music, genuinely.
And honestly, if y'all have any opinions on it, make sure that you let us know in some variation, whether that be through socials, YouTube, or whatever, because we are curious too. We all waited so long for this experience. We want to share the experience with other listeners. So truly let us know.
Yes, sirski. And other than that, for music that came out this week that was worth mentioning, at least to me, once again, I don't see everything on the planet. I'm not an A&R.
I'm going to mention two things myself.
I was about to say, I'm not an A&R, so it's like I'm not listening to music all day, in terms of just like finding new artists and stuff. So if I missed some stuff, sorry guys, but like Yeba, Louis Bag featuring Smino Brown, Heater, Moray and Polo G on the Trenches remix. Him putting Polo G on there made me happy, just because Polo G is one of my favorite young talents as well. And that was it for me.
There was two songs I wanted to highlight.
I feel so disrespectful for skimming over this project I didn't even want to talk about that I downloaded, but it's okay.
I feel like I know who you're talking about just from looking at the image of it because. Oh, never mind now. Oh wow, but nah, that's not what I expected. That's crazy.
I'm sorry, but we don't want to promote hate on this shit. So
there was 3 songs. So Coil Ray and dude who made Too Much. Y'all know who it is. I'm really just feeling so awful now for forgetting his name, and I'll come back to it. Made a song that was super heat. I liked it a lot. Yeah, and Sleepy Hollow. That's what his name is. Yeah. Again, I'm forgetting the name of another song, but it was 2C and 5. Yo, I will say this because I'm not talking about the things I don't like from the song. I'm going to talk about the things I do like.
Shitting, pooping.
Bro, you didn't need to say it twice.
Shitting, pooping.
And you did not need to say it twice.
Shitting, pooping.
Because that's what he did. But for Tusi.
No, Tusi went so crazy.
Man, like in the visuals too, he really is showing flavors, man. Like Tusi can make music in a lot of different variations, and that's not something you can expect from every artist nowadays. So I'm really appreciating seeing.
He's showing early star power for sure. He's showing his star power for real.
And past that, I know on the what felt like a million song project from the Kid Laroi. Even though I'm not ever gonna wish hate on a young man because
by the way,
I've been talking his praises for a minute now as like a young person that's coming up, and I'm hoping the best for. But he had a song with Gierbo and Lil Durk, and Lil Durk and him killed it. Again, I'm not saying anything negative because Gierbo makes plenty of great music, but the Kid Laroi had a part on that song where, genuinely speaking, I didn't expect to feel that way from what a 17-year-old was saying, bro. I was like, talk that talk, young man. That's
them writers
crazy.
No, I'm joking. I don't want to be a hater.
That's crazy, but that was all I had, really.
In all honesty, like, I think that's about it music-wise. I didn't really have anything myself else to say other than the fact that obviously we're making jokes and stuff, but like and I think every nigga is allowed to have some shit like this, so I hope nobody be sensitive, but it's like I love 5Yo's music. I feel like I come in here and I talk about 5Yo positively, like when I talk about like New York drill and just like a lot of that music up there, because that is probably my favorite party music. You know what I'm saying? Like that music instantly gets you in a vibe. Like I don't even remember the name of this dance. Niggas are gonna call me uncultured, but when they do the leg thing, bro, that just any song that makes me feel like I can do this one is a hit to me. That's a banger. That's a banger
for sure. Man.
And so like when I saw my dog come on here, shitting, pooping, and he repeated it just in case we didn't get the bar the first time.
I was just like, bro.
I was like, bro, y'all gotta pay better engineers. Y'all gotta pay better people to be in there and tell you no, or whoever.
Not even your engineers, because
they can't even be the engineer because it's his job.
After,
that's just his job, you know.
I feel like you're yes men. You can't even call them hype men at this point. You can't even call you men. You're like yes men that are in there in the studio with you. Shame on y'all.
Shame on the nigga that heard shitting, pooping, and then said,
"Say it again.
Say it again, dog. Say it again. Run that one back." And nah,
I don't know,
that
man.
ain't it, G.
But there's a lot of good music in other realms that have been happening. So I'm just kind of excited to see the direction people take, and kind of just happy to see what keeps happening. And like, I just want people to keep working, man. Especially with how excited we were, how excited we know a lot of artists are to be in this time outside of, I guess, the real full lockdown that was the start of the pandemic. Now as vaccines are coming out and everything, even though the variant is out there causing damage, which we'll talk more about in a bit.
Actually, it's a good segue right into it.
Yeah.
Like, really, with the variant and everything.
I was going to say, though, in
go
general,
hard.
though, it is kind of nice just to see all these artists working, all these artists still doing their thing, and like all the names that sign up for like all of these festivals that traditionally probably wouldn't have been at the same, like, you know, every single festival all
Deep,
together.
nigga.
So like these lineups are deep, and I'm just happy to see what they make. But
You see, every human on the planet was at Rolling Loud Miami, and I'm not even talking about the crowds. I'm talking about like the artists performing. Like every big artist right now was there.
I don't
I was
like
like,
to
what?
talk too much about Rolling Loud Miami for obvious reasons. Y'all know I wanted to go. A lot of shit happened there that made me realize I had to sack that one. But yeah, we're gonna move on. We gonna
Oh
move
yeah,
on.
for sure.
We're gonna move on.
But I will say that just as an update to a story, because we did speak about it last week, I believe, like with the DaBaby situation, it's nothing like really negative to say, nothing really to like talk to or blah blah blah. It's just, if you want to go find it, go find it. But DaBaby did put out, after like a week of doubling down, he put out an apology statement today. So once again, if you want to go find that, it's a very easy search. But if people are looking for it, the apology is out.
Yes.
And so moving right along and away from that one,
Yeah, man.
did you see the nigga that looked like the Avatar that won gold in the Olympics?
I saw him tweet out some shit about like hoping that one day he could essentially perform at such a high level he can truly be like the last airbender, you know, Aang himself. And when he said that, I was like, oh, that's cold. But this nigga cut his hair and put an arrow in it. Like, can he really perform at that high level? And then he won gold.
Got a gold medal.
I was like, I'm not gonna lie.
Windsurfing.
For the weebs, for the nerds, for everybody.
That's really the
for the
coolest
youth.
shit ever.
That's a dub.
That's actually dope as fuck.
That's
bro.
a dub for us.
Think about it, bro. How many like anime characters or cartoon characters, etc., did you wish immediately you can go get the haircut or go get the disc, go
And
get
go
the
be for a
that
day.
because you thought it'd be cool? You know, like, let me try to be this person. And this nigga really copied it and won gold at the closest event you could ever do to be the airbender.
Have you ever seen people competing in that sport that he does though? Because I'm not gonna lie, watching it happens is one of the most what the am I watching? Like the whole body movements, like them really getting into it. Niggas are like working to make their ship sail type. But I really, when I watched it, I was like, oh, he is an airbender. Like
he do this for real. Do this for real. It's not just the hair, by the way.
yeah.
But shouts out to dude. And just to be respectful, do we have his name? His name is Kieran Badlow. Just so we can be respectful, because that is so badass. So shouts out to Kieran Badlow. And then on another side, I saw something extraordinary.
What did you see?
I saw the trailer for King Richard.
I saw it too, and I can double down that it was extraordinary.
You want me to be real for a second?
Go ahead.
Which is, it's gonna start with love. So lead with hate and then enter into love.
Why'd you? Okay.
So I'm leading with hate only because, like, I saw Will Smith with the like gray beard and like him walking around in the little thing, and I was like, oh no, am I about to click on something? Like, this is why you have to always give stuff a chance, by the way. And so I was like, what the fuck is this? What the freak, is this? Like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? So I pressed play and I watched the trailer. I had goosebumps. Probably from like second, like 20, 30 into the trailer until the end of the trailer. Like, it is the story, for those who don't know,
Of Serena and Venus Williams and their kind of upbringing with their father, and essentially their paths to becoming who they are today.
and how much credit they kind of give their dad, and his role in them becoming who they are.
Because it's tough, man. I'm not going to lie. Like, unless you're like a LeVar Ball, who genuinely was just instantly in like the media's eye, a lot of parents, because a lot of these star athletes don't just dig deep and find it themselves. Even if they are people that, again, didn't necessarily get like the athletic side and get the training from their parents, maybe like a Jeremy Lin, who I saw in his dad's jump shot, and that shit was broke as hell. But like, I know his dad taught him things in other ways. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard for these parents to really be recognized, except for by the kid who knows what the hard work they put into them was. So like, seeing at least the trailer for this movie, I'm bought in. Bro, I'm bought in like the fucking Hornets and LaMelo Ball. Like, I'm watching this locked in.
Bro, what? I'm bought in like the Hornets and LaMelo Ball too. I saw this and I was like, all right, one, you got me. You won. Ding, 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 ding. That's movie money for me. I'm going straight to the theater. I'm watching this on the big screen, full experience.
Here's my 10.
Guess what? While I'm already here, let me get a large popcorn. Let me get a large popcorn that I'm going to finish before the credits and not want to get up and miss any bit of the movie. Like,
you remember how that meme, how it was like the dude handing the 220s? And it was like, that's me practicing handing over my movie money for these tickets.
for sure. That is definitely, bro. Gotta give niggas the techniques.
Behind the head.
That's funny as shit. But I definitely want to get into the drama and the show, I guess. It's basically like The Bachelorette, but for dudes, which is NBA free agency. But
man, gotta love, you gotta love it.
Ooh, you gotta love it. But it's like, I also want...
When Sugar stops and makes a face like that, it's two things. It's either some crazy news or he saw some ass. So before he even says it, I'm gonna go ahead and see.
Which one do you think it is? Which one do you think it is?
The jaw drop. It had to be such crazy ass for that few seconds. It was news. It wasn't ass. It was some news.
Oh, that's funny as fuck because he actually guessed it was news. But one thing I do want to say, which is random, but I wanted to get into this before we get into NBA stuff in general, is one, I wanted to talk about the fact that, like you were saying, bro, these things are popping up second by second because, just started.
You have it on real time.
I'm sitting here going crazy. Y'all getting real reactions. I'm sorry. But B,
that jaw drop, I'm not gonna lie, I just want you to cut to the chase at this point.
No.
I'm getting kind of nervous.
Oh, no. Caruso is on the Bulls.
Whoa.
Trevor Ariza is back on the Lakers.
Whoa. Oh my god.
Yeah, we're gonna get into this stuff in a second. We're gonna get into it. But anyways. And so like one thing I wanted to say though is, because I didn't say this earlier and I wish I did, but screw it. It's for all of the people that I did owe that apology to when it came to TikTok and just talking. I am going to do a different kind of challenge that if you're hearing this, I want you to bring it up to me, because then you get rushed to the front of the line. But I'll let everybody know eventually, in my own slow way. Everybody that I apologize to gets to tell me one thing that I have to do on TikTok, like one trend or whatever. And I'm just going to honor it because I'm trying to be an entertainer in whatever way possible. And what better way to entertain than by doing some shit you don't want to do?
I'm getting him to dance. So
he's gonna already do the renegade.
It might be the renegade in 2021.
He wants it to flop.
Hey, I'm never trying to frown your downfall.
No, that's hilarious, bro. But
you hit the low.
But beyond that, I also wanted to give a shout out to all of the creatives and people working right now. And the reason I wanted to even speak about the people working and the creatives is I was in a space earlier this week actually on the Polywork app, and my dog Rashad and a few homies a few friends of his were hosting like a little room or in like the Twitter spaces, which already, by the way, got Clubhouse out of the way. That's so crazy how quickly that happens.
That's kind of crazy because like I got to see it to believe it. I know like I've seen some of them jumping. I've seen some of these rooms again jumping. I just got to see it to believe it.
For sure. But like the space was genuinely what I took from like certain aspects of the space, because in all honesty, it would have been probably more like technically useful for producers and people like really integrated into the music industry in that way. But as somebody that is just like an adjacent of entertainment in general and it's adjacent of the music industry, because that is also a love of mine that I want to dive into and be an asset to as well.
Yeah.
It's like seeing people's journeys, seeing how people handle their journeys, and seeing like the advice they give, it made a lot of things click for me. And we had a discussion about this earlier this week too. One thing it made click for me is just like, you can have dreams, goals, and aspirations, but as you dream, you need to aim high, but you also need to fraternize within your tax bracket, because like not doing that is what helps sometimes stop people from growing, because sometimes you may feel like unwanted by levels higher than yours, I guess. But it's just like we talked about the work you need to put in and things of that nature. It's like those people have been where you were, you know what I'm saying? And it's like you have to show a certain level of work ethic. You have to show a certain level of success. You have to show a certain level of like understanding to be able to work with elevated people sometimes.
And let's be real. Like, what's the incentive? Unless you have like some dynamic product that's never been seen, or some irresistible personality, or something that just like is such a strong competitive advantage that essentially you have a monopoly on like some space of your market. What's the incentive for somebody who's like a millionaire or like has 1 million followers or whatever to partner with a person who has like 20 but a good idea? But like, what's the incentive there? Because they don't have that final product yet. They haven't put in enough work to show merit. They haven't proven it, you know. But on the same side, you could be that person with that low count, with like a low like earnings, low whatever, but partner with people around you that are doing the similar dope shit. And while they might also not be the biggest names, you might see some of the best growth out of working with people like in your like, again, like realm of like what you're working on and at your same level, that y'all might end up in like not even long. It could be honestly like 2 months later, 10 million followers each,
Boom.
or like $3 million, because that's just what it was. You can't block your blessings though.
Boom. And you blocked your blessings initially because you kept
DMing Hove asking for that.
You know what I'm
grant.
saying? Like, and I started to think about that because I started to put things into the perspective of sports, right? And truly everything in life is easier if you put it into sports for me. Once again, everybody's different. But like what I mean by that is every NBA player respects everybody to an extent that dribbles a basketball, right? Because they're doing something that they love to do too. You know what I'm saying? That's a connection there. You like hoops, you know what I'm saying? You this, you that. But with that being said, the NBA players know they're in the NBA for a reason. They saw what they had to do to get to the NBA. They saw the work they had to put into to get to the NBA. They saw how the situations had to all line up correctly for them to land into this National Basketball Association. And so if a D1 player, even like, let's go one step below, like G League's really one step below, but let me just like do a whole jump away from anything NBA, a tangent, whatever. And so like if let's say the 15th person on an NBA bench, right? If he comes to an open run, right? I promise you, I don't care if it's the best D1 prospect ever found in this world, that NBA player is going to get on the court before him or at the same time as him. You know what I'm saying? Because of the fact that that's an NBA player at the end of the day. It's just like once you reach a certain level, you've done everything those people have done or seen everything those people have seen. They may have respect for you, you know, because they see what you're doing and see you want to do that thing, but you have to put in work first. And so using that anecdote in my life, it just made me want to go harder because like he said, if you have 20 followers, right? And you work with 20 people that have 20 followers, then you now are working in a pool of 400 followers. And then if you have a great product, majority of those people may come to you. Yeah. And now you can work with a bunch of people that have 400, you know what I'm saying? And that could be applicable away from followers to like the types of beats you make, you know, or just like the types of food you bake or desserts you bake or the type of meals you chef up. It's like,
okay, I thought you were gonna rhyme on that third one.
No.
Unintentionally, you kind of did. I said, "Yo, talk to him,"
because like even on Instagram, Twitter yesterday, and this is how I noticed I've actually put in time without knowing I put in time. Before I wrap up and let us get to our dramedy, but it's like of the NBA draft. But it's like on Twitter yesterday, like Shad, ironically, he tweeted out a TikTok of this black dude. He said he found black cooking TikTok and he said it's the greatest shit ever. And it's this black dude. And these are funny as hell. Like I love watching the dude cook like all of that. I know
you're talking about too.
But it's just like looking at the videos, and this is no disrespect to dude in the slightest bit, but from my perspective of like how I like to cook, at least presentation wise, or at least because I can't taste this man's food, of course. Like I if I had to choose mine or his, I'm choosing mine every time. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty confident in the fact that if I put that in front of 10 different people, they're choosing mine too for the most part. Most people are taking that. And then it made me sit back and think. I was like, dang, like I've cooked enough where I could say some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I've put enough time in the kitchen just loving food and like the culinary arts to be able to say I'm willing to bet on myself versus a lot of niggas when it comes to this cooking shit now. And so like That's applicable everywhere though. But I did those like 10,000 hours, not really 10,000 or else I'd be like pro level and those kind of things. But I put in those thousands of hours myself on accident. You know what I'm saying? Just off of a love. Like it was intentional, but it was just me doing shit I like to do on the side and just out of necessity to eat when you are inspired and things like that. So I mean,
that's important, man. That's important. And I don't even have much more to say on that. Like I think you kind of got to it. Said what needed to be said. I hope people just take a message from that, and if they don't, then it is what it is. But I know we have a little bit to get into here with some of
look at a couple pieces of this dramedy.
I was about to say,
tell me why the Lakers drafted Mac. Well, not drafted. They signed him after he was undrafted. I know it seems weird because it was around the same time, but that's still a part of the process. But anyways, they signed him as an undrafted person, right? And everyone's making jokes like, oh, they got another like athletic white boy. Like they're replacing Alex Caruso. They're saying Alex Caruso and Mac McClung fighting in the locker room for the spot. And then I was like, bro, y'all are idiots. Shut up. Like blah, blah, blah. And then really Alex Caruso's gone.
And you think,
but he had to get paid though. Like he got paid money.
You know what it is? Two things I think personally. I think Caruso was due a little bit more money than the Lakers wanted to give him now.
For sure.
A lot of that just came from the Lakers brand kind of boosting him to what he is. Like he's not a bad player, but like at the same time, he's a bigger name than I think he probably would have been if he was playing. I don't want to say should have been, but would have been if he was playing on like the Timberwolves, right?
That's the LA effect, though. That's just big markets in general.
And so with that, he carries some type of leverage. So he was able to demand a little bit of things that they probably weren't able to give him, and that's fine. But on the side of Mac McClung, he gets another bouncy white boy who I think he has to prove it because at the end of the day, Caruso was an NBA player. But I think Mac McClung has been developing a decent shot, and that's one of the areas that I saw Caruso kind of struggling. It's when he needed to take that three, when it was like that moment the ball kicked out to him or whatever, he wouldn't hit the shot. He wouldn't hit it. He just couldn't, you know? And like that's fine, but Mac McClung gives him a better realm of play, I think, potentially for the Lakers. And as cheesy it is, he provides something to the fans that Caruso is giving that they won't necessarily lose. And the fans love that, and they need that apparently out there. Which is kind of crazy, bro. It's kind of crazy that they need a character.
Did you see the first?
But he's a hooper first and foremost.
Nigga, I have a Caruso shirt. I'm a Alex Caruso fan for real. Like I fuck with that nigga. Like he seems like a cool ass dude. But you just,
I'm gonna hold this.
Yeah, go hard. That's what I'm saying. Like I want you to go hard on this because I know this is more your love. Like we both love the dramedy. Don't get me wrong. Like this is really like people think we're joking when we say shit like this. Like this is really like my Bachelor. Like point of the year. Like I love seeing the drama of the NBA draft. I'd be so not the draft into like the trades and like the off season.
Just like the shifts that happen because obviously you get to enjoy the play of basketball during the season, but during the off season you get to see the moves. So it's like that culture around the sport, which I think we talked about too when I was going on about F1 and how I started to get into it and what made me. It was again the culture around it besides just the sport. So I'm seeing some shit here, like being a Pelicans fan, longtime Pelicans fan. They're starting to make me not even want to. I'm gonna just be honest with y'all. Your time is come running up.
Oh, I'm not a Pelicans fan anymore. I don't care how fake niggas call me. Like that is the worst run organization in basketball, and until that changes, I'm cool.
Truly,
I'm saving my peace.
I think if Zion leaves and nothing happens, I think that's it. I think it's wraps. I think they lost one for me personally because I've been seeing a lot of crazy things. I'm seeing Lonzo Ball in a sign and trade deal. It's sent to the Chicago Bulls on an $85 million contract, 4 years. That's great. Lonzo deserves that.
No, for sure. Yo, first thing, I was about to just like preface that, nigga, we're basically a Ball Brothers podcast. Like when it comes to our love of the ball.
I don't want to preface shit. Like these niggas been on countless covers of our podcast.
You know what I'm saying? Like what? No, I love them niggas. So,
but we get, and keep in mind, no disrespect to these guys, but we're giving away one of our star pieces, and hopefully in hopes for something to satisfy Zion. To be contenders, not even contenders, to be able to make the fucking playoffs.
Zion Williamson, that has basically let you know that if you don't do something, I'm leaving, by the way.
And we got Tomas Satoransky, Garrett Temple, and a second round pick. I saw that tweet. I said, Shams, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
Bro, I
feel like you're missing something here. What do you...
Bro, I wish we had Khaled here, bro, because I know he feels just as trolled as we feel.
Bro.
I know he feels just as trolled as we feel.
No bullshit. I saw a trade with the Bulls. I said, that's crazy. I can't believe the Bulls let go of Zach LaVine. That's wild. Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you.
I was sitting there like, bro, there's no way they hoed Lonzo and traded him to the Bulls and took Zach. Like, no way. I wanted my nigga to be a part of that 5 backcourt. But then you look at what they actually got, you're like,
okay. I think the Pelicans just forfeited all hope for next season unless they use whatever cap space they just cleared up and pick up a star player. But which star player is available? Who are they gonna? Because
which star player is available and wants to move to New Orleans?
Kemba Walker don't have a choice. So like, he gonna be somewhere. That's one of the few that are a star player that don't have options. That they got to prove themselves.
Oh, did you see something beautiful?
I hope it's not. Okay, let me see where this is going.
No, it's beautiful in a sense that it's beautiful, but it could be double-edged, and we have to be real about like what we were seeing on his last season with the Lakers. Obviously, like we hope everything's different, but like, did you see that Brad Stevens has apparently expressed interest in like a reunion with IT?
I did not. I saw him potentially bringing back some of the other players from earlier in his career as a coach, but the IT shit would be beautiful, man. Like, IT's got to prove it too.
He just had 65 in an AEBL game. Set the AEBL record.
I didn't watch it, and I'm just going to say something right now. That's fire. To drop that many points in any game, regardless of who you are, like...
Bro, that's fire as fuck.
That's fire as fuck. Like, dropping 60-something points is gnarly. Like,
nigga, I haven't dropped 65 points in an open gym by myself.
Bro, I could be playing against... You know what I mean? Like, by yourself. It takes a minute to score those 65. Not even gonna lie. Like, I know...
I'm not about to sit here and shit on somebody.
I'm gonna say, I know that nigga took a lot of shots, though.
Oh, for sure.
All jokes aside, I know he took a lot of shots.
Come on now.
Not all jokes inside, I know he took a lot of shots.
Bro,
but I really do hope that, like, he goes there and he's able to turn everything around his name right back around to where it was when he was a star, because like you don't like to see, like, he was the underdog, right? You don't like to see the underdog win and then right after lose. Like, bro, I wanted to see him at least ride that for a little bit.
And it's like, don't get me wrong, it would have ended up fucking the Celtics in the long run if his career went the same way with injury and the things he was dealing with. But it's like, just in terms of me just wanting to see black men succeed always, it's just crazy to see like a young black man that lost his sister put everything on the line for this team, and he was like within weeks of signing a max contract. You know what I'm saying? He was probably already imagining the life-changing money, and then everything shifted. Yeah. And obviously that is, well, I won't say obviously because you never know about the God and what he has in the future for these people, but I mean, it seems unlikely that something like that will be put back on the table and for him in his future, because of the time that was actually the time that was wasted not giving him an opportunity or giving him a chance. But he's did like seeing him.
The thing is though, like, you don't want to say like not giving him a chance and shit too, because like there's definitely ways he got hoed. But like the man on the Lakers, which is like again like an opportunity, he didn't live up to that, and it was kind of sad. Which I think he was playing through injuries, and he was doing like a lot. And it's kind of sad because at that time too, I think that was in the transition of players being able to vocalize certain things and like really kind of play on their health. Because like I remember actually, I think it was about that time, maybe slightly before the Kawhi situation, and niggas were giving Kawhi hell for like, you know, valuing his health over playing a little bit.
Which is nuts to think
And then
about.
he came back and won a championship. So like if IT took a little bit of that route and kind of just took care of himself, I know it seemed bad at that moment. This is a lot of hindsight. Like,
oh, for sure, hindsight's 2020. We know this.
But I think that would have done better for his career, because now he's got to earn that back. But all things considered, he has earned life-changing money. Like, he made it to the NBA.
Like, I know he
got an NBA
he's
contract.
A millionaire, bro. But it's just like the one thing that scares me a little bit if I was a Celtics fan is just, which obviously I think IT is a smart person. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think IT is going to get an opportunity and he's going to like waste that opportunity. It's just IT has been paid his whole life to kill. You know what I'm saying? Just because like he's a shorter player, he realizes like what he adds is points, right? And so like knowing this, like seeing this run he's been on in the summer, which once again, we've seen the KDs, we've seen the Kobe's, we've seen all of these people do their summer runs. Bron just tweeted, which is crazy, by the way. He said, what are the best runs? Like, Bron's trying to come do some runs this summer. Like, he's noticing people are fucking with it. And so it's like, seeing that, I get it. But it looks like IT was on an earn his spot back run this summer. And because every league it looks like he's played in, he's been dropping crazy numbers. It's been like 40-point games, 50-point games. Now we saw the 65-point game. But it's also like take high usage, right? And so I wonder personally, and once again, all I do is wish success on this black man. It's just like, I wonder personally how that translates, because we were seeing usage issues on the Lakers like we were talking about, like during that injury time, where it'd be moments that you could see. And once again, we were outside perspectives. I'm not on that court. I haven't put that time in, and I've never played in an NBA game. But you were seeing moments where you were like, the clear option is to pass the ball or to do something else. But it looked like since he got hoed from the Celtics, he had a point to prove, and he was just trying to kill again, even when it was probably not the time to kill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man.
And so I don't want to, because you fuck up people's rhythm and flow sometimes like that. But if you're dropping crazy points, he was the scoring leader. If you're the scoring leader, fuck up everybody's flow. Your flow is the flow that needs to be right.
Yeah, but it just wasn't at that time, which was like sad. But it's funny because I walk into this man's apartment, he's watching a podcast, right? And so when he goes to do some things, I'm over here, and all of a sudden I tune into the podcast, and they did talk on something that's kind of like this moment. It was a lot of 5 players just be in some shitty situations, from like personal things with their body, their situation around them, and with the organization, etc., that ends up kind of fucking their career trajectory. And it's like, because they were even talking about, and then they'll play in like the summer, or they'll play in like a practice, and they'll just be showing out, and you'll see how they're that dude, like removed from their situation a little bit. And I feel like that's reminiscent of like the IT shit. Like I know in this one they talked about like Trayvon Duval, and I don't know if y'all remember him, but he was like one of the big like point guard prospects for a few years back. And I just remember that he was one of my picks for who I thought was going to show out from that class. I think that was around the Michael Porter Jr. years, or like the Trae Young year thing. But you don't know who that is. You know what I mean? And it's sad that you don't know who that is, because I'm sure he's still fine at basketball. But it's like things just didn't work out for him like that. And I'm hoping that the IT situation isn't like a repeat of so many players in their situations, and kind of like what is the stigma around them now, and things like fucking them up.
And losing your job, man, has to be like one of the craziest feelings when that job like changed your life. You know what I'm saying? And when you didn't really get to control the destiny of your job. And that's why, like, I definitely feel for players, at least to the extent that I can feel for, in terms of like, you don't really get to write your own story in professional sports unless you're one of them guys. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Unless you're one of them, you don't get to, like, Bron could sit on an NBA team off of his name alone until he's 50 years old. I promise you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like that. He's going to decide when he leaves the NBA 100%.
Dwayne Wade decided going crazy until he's 70.
What? Dwayne Wade decided when he left the NBA.
Imagine Bron tweeting year 70.
You know what I'm saying? And who would say anything about it? Niggas would be paying him like Bill Russell, like on the like coming to our games. Like, he's basically a fan that they pay. You know? Like,
definitely that veteran minimum though.
And they would, what stupid veteran minimum? It doesn't matter when this nigga don't even show up to practice no more. He knows he's not playing.
Exactly.
This nigga go work a regular job and he just has season tickets.
Courtside seats, finest in the land, baby. I don't know, man. I'm just excited to see some of the other things play out. I know Kyle Lowry to the Heat. I was happy to see him end up there, because some of these other trade destinations just made no damn sense for him. I'm like, bro, you're trying to ruin his career and ruin the careers of others by placing him on some of these teams. Like, no, he's in a good position. He's still not, I'm not saying he's like washed or anything, but he's not getting younger. So like, move him to a team that can win now. And move him to a team that he can help the mentality. Because I think certain people,
Miami's a dog team. It's a dog team. So that's a good situation for Kyle Lowry.
and I feel like in this last year, especially with Jimmy Butler being hurt for some of it, and them not kind of fully panning out the way they wanted to, even though I think they lost to like the Bucks in the playoffs and shit. I think Kyle Lowry kind of coming in is going to reinforce it for some of these young guys that need like I saw you were turning into it all, but you started to fuck up for a second, like back to it. You know what I mean?
Bro, he's about to be talking crazy in that locker room, especially like Kyle Lowry is one of those players that nobody in the NBA, at least from my knowledge, like talks down on when it comes to their heart and how much grit they have when it comes to playing this basketball game. Like, he's the only person like at his age that's still diving. You know what I'm saying? And like doing like the theatrics to try his best to like win these games. Like, he's really putting his body on the line whenever he can. And so I know if he sees somebody 10 years younger than him not giving effort, he's about to kill, like really cut people up in this locker room.
The championship with Kawhi, you can see the mentality switch in this nigga. Like, what? I'm very excited to see them potentially win. And if they do, that's cool. I'm not going to lie, though. The Lakers now and the Nets.
Trevor Ariza.
There's a story here.
You see the storyline. You see the storyline.
Making a return to the land. I think.
Last championship with Kobe.
What's all these teams in like these geese forces, you know?
What do you mean by that?
These spy geese forces. You know what I mean, bro. Trevor Ariza's not young. They got Bron. They got fucking, now they got Russell Westbrook. I mean, Drummond's youngish, but
Did they stop Drummond?
no, they're getting rid of him.
You know, he's either leaving or has left at this point.
Yeah,
But
I'm just excited. I'm excited to see like the last of the 5 old guard come together to try and win the last ring, because it's them fighting for it. It's the Nets, if we're being honest with ourselves,
sure,
fighting for it too. Of like these players that are on the end of their primes, or like getting into like the vet years.
Bro, I was gonna say, bro, like I agree with you. It seems like we're watching niggas come together like the Autobots uniting for like one last final hoorah for the next couple years. Because like in the next few years, we're gonna start to see these names falling off. You know what I'm saying? Like the people that we've loved our whole lives, you know, watching play, because now we're grown now. You know what I'm saying? Like we're getting to that point where I've been, and now you've been. You could say at this point like older than like the top prospects for the last few years. And now,
Like when I see that now, I'm like, bro, these niggas are young.
And so now we're watching all the old guard come together. It's crazy, and they just left CP on an island by himself with 120 M&Ms.
They didn't leave nobody on the island. He bought the island. Like,
Talk about it.
He left himself on the island. He
Talk
said,
about it.
I'm chilling. Yo, word. I just got to the finals. Might do it again, and I'm paid.
Did you
Not
see the
worried.
Lakers spread for their salaries? It was the 4 highest paid people on the Lakers. It was like Bron, AD, and Russell Westbrook all at like 37 or more million, and the next was 5 million, and it was Luol Deng, because they're still paying him because of his buyout of his contract.
Luol Deng has been.
No, look at the jump. Look at the jump
for years.
Look at the
I'm
jump.
so proud of Luol.
No, it's dumb proud of that nigga still getting paid, man. Please take them. Please take their money. But you see that jump? Boom, boom. Yeet.
Way low. They can't afford nobody.
They can't afford people. That's why, like, honestly, it makes sense Caruso leaving, because it's contract year. We knew some team was going to at least give Caruso 10 a year, or like damn near 10 a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, they couldn't afford that.
Bro, I think all things considered, the Lakers need to hit me up, because I watch a lot of basketball content. I can find you some D1 players that have been out of the loop for a minute. I can find you some G League players, you know what I mean? Because y'all need it, because you ain't got the money for much else.
Bro, if y'all need to fill up roster spots on everything to not forfeit games, I will happily join the Lakers. I will happily join the Lakers. I'll take the dumb minimum too. Like, I'll take the under the table minimum. I'll pay y'all. Like, if the minimum is like 400,000 or 500, whatever it is, just cut the minimum in half. That's what I'm actually
Say you'll
getting.
pay me under the table, I'm giving it back.
Bro, I'm giving it back. I'm giving it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'll only take half of that, John. You know, because like I'll get courtsides. I get courtsides to watch
for
for
sure.
I can't play for surely. Imagine enough people get injured that you really have to play. I'd be sitting there like, nigga, I'm really facing up.
Everybody gets injured. It's the goddamn finals, and you're playing like the Nets or some shit. So you're really lined up, and all of a sudden they're about to inbound the ball, and you look to your right, and there's Kyrie Irving. It's like, well, shit. Didn't expect to be here, huh?
It's like, it's like shitting, pooping.
He gonna have to see me though. I don't give a shit. Kyrie gonna have to see me.
No, I'm trying to put. I promise you, the funniest part about all of that is, even if I know I got paid to literally be a block on the bench that just somehow made it into a game to save people's legs, like whatever it was, I promise in my head I'm gonna think it's straps. I'm gonna think I'm putting clamps on whoever.
You know, I'm laughing.
I'm on an NBA court. I'm gonna be like, I deserve to be here.
I'm laughing, but all things considered, when I really think about it, that was my high school tennis career. Like, there was points at the beginning of the season when my coach really told me, like, hop in there, and I was like, yo, didn't expect to be here. I was laughing about it. Then I step in, it's like, I'm about to kill that nigga, though.
It's like, what do you mean by that?
It's raps for him, but it wasn't. But, you know, I won 50% of my games. But that being said, I don't really have much else. I think we need to actually wrap up the podcast. But I do want to ask one more thing as we are on this basketball conversation.
Go hard.
In the battle of the Geese forces, and we have the Lakers and we have the Nets, I think there is a third team here that we're forgetting that we need to pay some respect to in their opportunity to pull over a third Geese Force player and potentially win another ring.
Who?
The Golden State fucking Warriors. Count them niggas out when they got Clay and Steph. And to be honest, they got a young person in Wiseman that is a terror. If he can stay healthy. Who's the third person they get, though, to complete a big three behind Steph and Clay?
You know who they're thinking possibly? Which obviously, like, we don't know what's actually going to end up happening. But guess who declined his option this year?
Kawhi. I saw that, man. Can they afford him? They're not paying anybody else.
Not paying, but nobody on that team's getting money besides Clay, Steph, and Draymond, though. Like, think about contracts.
And let's be
real.
real.
If they traded Wiggins and picks, like, they could probably afford him. Like, to be
They
honest,
really
for that
can
contract.
get it on value. Honest to God, trade Wiggins for like 2 first-round picks. 2 first-round picks. You know, it's a steal for some teams. And then Lakers are interested in Danny. Bro, I'm telling you, the Geese
The
Force,
Geese Force is uniting, bro.
Braun has been looking at every player that was somewhat decent on a discount right now, and he says, "Come back, let's run it
Did
back."
you see Carmelo Anthony and Melo, DeMar DeRozan, and one other player of that caliber? Like we're talking about.
Wait, you said Melo?
DeMar DeRozan and one other.
No
player.
offense, but Melo not in the conversation with DeMar.
No. Let's just be very clear. Look, Carmelo Anthony, of course, is not in the conversation. I just mean all stars.
Yeah.
But sorry,
Because DeRozan's playing at a very high caliber, and niggas have not given him any bit of the respect since he got over
the game
the
on the Spurs is averaging a lot of
mid
points.
range looking
You know what I'm
exactly
saying?
like Kawhi's or MJ equivalent. That mid range looking crazy.
Those players, and there's one more. I really forgot who it is. I don't think it was Kyle Lowry, but it was someone else because
Yeah.
Lowry's obviously getting paid. But it was these guys are looking at potentially going to the Lakers on the vet minimum, like just really taking no money and going like for like a final chance, like a hoorah. Like we really might watch some Autobots shit
Look
happen.
at Carmelo.
Yeah, like
I would hope so.
Carmelo is willing to take no money.
If he can do that and go over, if him, Russell Westbrook, and all these dudes end up winning a ring on the back of LeBron, no one can say shit to me. He does, and it's not even on the back of LeBron because at this point, bro, LeBron isn't doing the I'm averaging 35 points a game, 10 rebounds, 10 assists type shit in the finals. He's not.
No,
doing that.
Braun's assembling the Avengers right now.
But But he's assembling them. If they win, no one can tell me shit. Braun's the GOAT.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Conversation done.
I need to see a Nets Lakers finals for real, but like with a full stack, like really on some NBA 2K like all-star squads of like the 2010s. I need to see those players battle it out. And I'm not like this is all love. We have countless podcasts talking about the poetry that is Kyrie Irving's basketball player. The fact that Kevin Durant is the best motive basketball player in NBA history. The fact that Harden is a scoring machine like we've never seen before that was putting up, that really had an MVP season last season. But that being said, if LeBron beats these niggas with his super squad, do you think that we're going to get a repeat of that face that he gave to Steph, that look back face, but from either him or Russ Westbrook looking at Kyrie or KD?
Oh my God. I didn't even think about the storyline.
The dramedy.
The storyline that's going. If Braun and Westbrook beat. Oh my goodness. I need it. Inject it. I need it. Straight into my veins, bro. I'm not going to lie. We're going to catch all of the shade because they're not saying it.
It's going to be the shade room.
They're never saying it outright to these, but they're going to say
they respect each other. They're not going to.
They respect each other, but like, you know, they know. These niggas, first off, if there's a nigga like LeBron and Westbrook, I don't care how much they have gotten over things or like they respect you, they didn't forget. You know what I mean? It's like the niggas under Brother Nature's comments. They didn't forget.
Bro, LeBron won on his own platform on the shop where they never actually get haircuts, but that nigga really does do the magic float around people's heads with the razor going crazy, making the noise. But anyways, like LeBron went on his own platform and talked about Kyrie's comments, bro. Like that nigga, he's gonna always show love and this, that. But knowing LeBron is of whatever cloth that I assume people think that Drake is, or when I think about him, like really never forgetting and like truly like always planning like how he feels about situations and things like that, right? In that calculation, I think LeBron already knew the optics of what it's going to look like, and he's excited for that finals, and he's reinvigorated again because he wants to see them. And I think the same for Kyrie, KD, and Harden. I think they're just as excited as we're saying this Lakers team.
Because if we're keeping it a buck with a lot of those dudes, especially the Hardens, well, not the Hardens, because I'm not going to lie, like the Kyrie and the KDs for sure when it comes to Braun, like it's on site when it comes on the court for them, for sure. The Harden, it never was able to because, no offense, Steph didn't give that nigga a chance.
Not the chance.
Clay didn't give that nigga a chance.
Bro, the crazy thing is, bro, just imagine, bro, I want to be real with you, though. Imagine Russell Westbrook's fiery self if he beat James Harden and KD in the NBA Finals. Just like
Russell Westbrook might transcend this like earthly plane. He might actually leave his body, and you might see a ghost come out. The way this nigga gonna turn up after a dunk.
KD's gonna be like, man, I got two of them. He'll be like, but mine was beating your ass.
Yeah. Bro, I need it. I need it.
Harden's gonna be like, how many times you finish in the MVP voting? He said, nigga, y'all could take my MVPs away. I got a championship. How about you, nigga?
Bro, nah, Russ.
I need it.
Russ might win a Finals MVP if they make it to the finals.
Oh, if they make it to the finals, he's getting the finals MVP because you know he's gonna.
There's not a single person working
effort.
harder than him.
The most effort.
Not a single person that's gonna work harder than him.
If anybody can invigorate people and make them want to go harder, you're on a team with LeBron James, one of the greatest basketball minds in history and one of the greatest basketball leaders in history. We've watched him. Like, his resume speaks for himself. Every single team he's left has become a lottery team the next year. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Every team. That's nuts as a stat, by the way. But it's like,
and they said he was on super teams. By the way, they said Braun had to be paired with the best of the best in NBA history to make it to the. But the next year after, all the times they're a lottery team.
like what?
His impact was like that.
Like. Anyways,
I think he gave a lot of years to Cleveland that people don't realize if he was on a different team, his career stats and accolades would look a lot different. They already look incredible. But he gave a lot of years trying to give Cleveland one, and he got them just the one.
Just because he knew that's the family, that's the hometown, like he got to do it for the squad. And being good enough to stick it out on a team that buns and get them one that's in itself some greatness. But with Braun, we already know who Braun is. We know Russ's energy and how he is, and just like how he invigorates. You see how he makes everybody better and really believes he can make any team win, right?
For sure.
We seen this nigga really go to the Wizards and swear they were going to the finals. I know he didn't believe that in his heart of hearts, but really he did, because he played like he believed it in his heart of hearts.
I didn't believe it. He started to make me believe it,
bro. Like what? And so and arguably the best dual threat in the NBA, if it's not Giannis, it's Anthony Davis. And so now we're watching. Injury, of course, we're gonna pray for him, and always gonna hope for the best, and always gonna hope that he doesn't stay injured or anything like that, because he is a little bit injury prone. But if AD stays healthy, I truly, as much as I want to see a battle, I can't imagine the Lakers losing 7 games.
I can't. It's just I think it's all dependent on the young guys, because the old guys are gonna give you the final series you need. They're gonna give you the playoff run you need. The young guys are going to get you to make the playoffs, because they're going to be the ones that AD is going to need. AD's young still, but he's going to need to load manage a little bit because he is injury prone. Braun's not getting any younger. He's going to have to start load managing to play in peak Braun form and come playoffs. Russell Westbrook's going to die if he needs to play, but if they're being smart, they're going to let him kind of keep his body to get to the playoffs in full shape. If they're being smart, if Danny Green really comes over, they can't run him like they were running him those other years. They gotta help him survive. So the THTs, the Mac McClungs, that's why I think they got a bunch.
I think the THT got traded.
I think
he got traded in the Westbrook trade,
or the Westbrook. Oh yeah. It was Kuzma and him, actually. Mm-hmm. Damn, who do they have left?
That's what I'm saying. The only thing that makes it difficult too, like you were saying, it's yes, when you think about starters, it's hard to see them losing 7. But now I'm sitting thinking that bench is bone dry. That bench is bone dry right now.
Who can you get on discount, man? There's a lot of more speculation.
They don't have KCP anymore.
That was a bad move for them. I'm not gonna lie. I get why they did it. They'd have to pay him for real, but He was one of the hardest workers you got to make it to that far.
Bro, this nigga was on house arrest. And coming and giving buckets to your team.
We really forgot that.
Really ankle monitor and everything coming because it was work. You know what I'm saying? Coming and giving buckets.
Didn't he have it on in game?
Yes.
I remember these
balling
moments.
on niggas, bro.
Yo, KCP's a legend. That man went from such a butt some of these games to performing at such a high level and determination. I don't know what it was that was going on in his life, but I'm so happy that he was able to play at the level that he knew he could, because this man turned into one of my most respected players now.
That whole playoffs, they needed him to win. That whole finals run, bro. He was out there killing. You know what I'm saying?
That whole year, not even this the playoffs. That whole year he was setting the stage.
What? So definitely shouts out to him. The last thing I wanted to say before we get out of here, because I know we are running a little long on time, is there's an organization that's starting to look a little bit as spooky as the Pelicans.
Starting to look?
Bro, you know what the Sixers said they're not settling for less for Ben Simmons for?
Didn't they already say it?
They said they want another superstar in their head. And they said they want 4 first-round picks.
Okay, that's crazy. The superstar and 2 second-round picks.
No, not all-star, superstar. An all-star and 2 second-round picks makes sense from after what we've seen. Sorry, just being honest.
I'm not gonna lie. We got to look at the superstar. We got to look at the superstar for sure because the all-star,
Which superstar?
the all-star is the one that it really does need to be. Though, like all jokes considered, like
4 firsts and a team's franchise player, basically.
I think if you're the Sixers, you don't even talk about it. He said, "Have y'all no shame?" Look at my man's face right now. Have y'all no fucking shame, bro? Have y'all none of it?
You know what I actually just remembered too?
What?
Damian Lillard is still on Portland. So that means they're obviously working on something. And I forget when it came to the Kawhi declining thing, they were assuming Portland or Golden State if he does leave.
Kawhi is definitely not playing in Oregon. Because he needs to see some winners. And no offense. And like, there's some dogs on that team. But there's not enough to make him go out. You saw he left a championship team he just won with.
True.
To go live where he wants to. He needs the most motivation to go play for you. Kawhi's not leaving California. He's just relocating. So
fair. This nigga is Steph live in Malibu but play in the North. But anyways, like with that being said, I fuck with you, my boy. Appreciate you coming through for another week. We always hear you.
This man said it like I'm a recurring guest.
He's not a recurring guest. It's just I love him showing up because I showed up this week too.
Damn, appreciate you coming back another week, my boy.
Yes, sir, because we here.
We could have quit.
We could have quit. We could have
Did we though?
Given half effort. Like sometimes spirits be low, sometimes spirits are this. But like I like the fact that we do try to come every week and show up. You know
genuinely,
show
man.
up for this shit.
I'm happy. Let's go ahead and make the rest of the week great. We're gonna have another episode coming for y'all soon and more content dropping on all platforms. So for now, go ahead and keep fucking with your boys and tune in and keep up with us. But for now, it is.
My name is Chuka.
My name is Ezigo.
And this is the Offspace.